It's been about half a year, but Enduring Confrontation is finally back. In this video, I'm going to go over how this EC event went, what issues came up, and how Gaijin should improve the mode. These are just my opinions, and if you have any ideas on what should be changed, be sure to leave them in the comments. Though first, I would like to mention that I've been streaming some EC matches over on my Twitch channel, and I'll be streaming more of them in the future. I'm also playing some Hades, and we'll probably play some other games like Ace Combat 7 there too. There's no set schedule yet, but I will be streaming full matches every time Enduring Confrontation starts. Anyway, on to this round of EC. The main reason we didn't get this mode for 6 months seems to be some extreme lag caused by update 1.97. So, did we get it back because that lag was fixed? No, it's pretty similar honestly. Between massive FPS dips, rubber banding, and spotty hit reg, EC is about how it was back when it was first broken. I think this might partially come down to just how much is going on in a match, as Naval EC has a lot of moving parts. A single cruiser can generate more lag than a group of tanks or planes due to its sheer size, damage model complexity, and number of weapons, so this isn't entirely unexpected. Hopefully Gaijin can optimize performance in EC more, since it's a pain to play at the moment, even with high-end hardware or a good internet connection. For other glitches, many players reported various sounds disappearing, ranging from secondary weapons to primary weapons to voice lines. Crashes were also a bit more common than usual, and I experienced one myself at the end of a match. Overall, EC was pretty buggy. But enough about the glitches. How was the mode itself? First comes the objectives, which had one huge problem. Way too many air tasks. I'm not against planes playing a role in EC, but in this event, they were simply the deciding factor in every match. If your team had a single dedicated air player and the enemy didn't, you could just win with a point lead in the tens of thousands. All of the objectives seem to be weighed the same amount, so capturing a port or escorting a convoy would give the same number of points as shooting down a single surveillance aircraft. The way to fix this would be pretty simple, just remove lots of the air tasks and lower the amount of points they give out proportionally. To balance that out, add back air RB Enduring Confrontation, so the planes have a better place to be played. Naval EC should be primarily decided by ships, so making it so that a single plane carries more weight than a whole flotilla of vessels is just strange. Next is the convoy task, which is okay in theory, but has some very poor implementation. Since both teams can spawn in range of the convoy, killing a player doesn't really mean anything. If you kill a cruiser defending the convoy, they'll just spawn another cruiser next to it. If you kill a cruiser attacking the convoy, they'll just spawn another cruiser in range of it. This means the attacking players can just brute force the objective by spawning, attacking the convoy and ignoring enemy players until they're killed, and repeating the process since they spawn in attack range of the convoy. The other issue is that the convoys spawn deep inside the defender's territory, letting the attacking team drop multiple cruisers right next to their ports and capture them. The convoy objective also takes longer to complete than any other objective and gives the same number of points as them, meaning it doesn't really matter that much. Personally, the way I'd like to see this task fixed is pretty simple. Spawn the convoy closer to the no man's land between the two teams and remove the spawns attached to it, with the convoy slightly closer to the defending team. This makes it more natural to attack and defend, and doesn't disrupt the battle completely by dumping an entire enemy fleet within the defender's territory. For Denmark, I think the convoy spawning at the G or B points and moving to the H or C points, or vice versa, would make the objective way better. Since it would be a bit harder to attack and takes longer than many of the other tasks, raise the points gained for successfully escorting or destroying the convoy. Next is attacking and capturing ports, which has its own problems. First is that the enemy can spawn directly in the capture zone, meaning that they're incredibly easy to defend and difficult to attack. The other issue is needing to destroy the coastal artillery before capturing one. While this means PT boats can't sneak into a port and capture it easily, it's annoying for other ships as they lack the accuracy to consistently hit coastal artillery at anything outside of almost point blank. The fixes I suggest for this are pretty simple. Move the spawn attached to a port outside of it, preferably away from the direction an enemy would attack from. This way defending players can still spawn near a port if it's under attack, but not inside of it. For the coastal artillery issue, make large caliber guns, such as 100mm and up, able to destroy them with a near miss, with the radius that will destroy the gun increasing with the size and explosive filler of the shell used. One very specific and rare but annoying issue is a method for spamming ludicrous amounts of torpedoes using a free destroyer spawn, which is especially prevalent with Japanese destroyers due to their powerful long-lance torpedoes. Effectively, a player can just spawn in, fire a salvo of torpedoes, leave their vehicle, and then repeat the process many times. This makes some ports unassailable and rewards free kills for little to no effort. It also contributes to pretty severe server lag if it's done enough. My proposed solution is pretty simple. If a player leaves their vehicle without it awarding kill credit to another player, just despawn their ordnance fired in that life if it hasn't hit a target yet. The only situation I could see this being a bit unfair in is if a player dies by beaching themselves or getting stuck on terrain under the water, though it would work as a temporary fix at least. Another issue I encountered is the balancing of spawn points. Once a player got a cruiser, many of them would just be in cruisers for the rest of the match. So far, personally, I've yet to encounter a situation where I've run out of the SP to spawn one, since once you're in a cruiser, it's way easier to earn SP. I think modifying the SP rewards of some vehicles could fix this. A destroyer could earn a lot more per action than a cruiser, giving them some reason to be used later in the game. As a related issue, late into matches some players would be stuck in destroyers and unable to farm the SP to spawn cruisers since they're up against almost unassailable odds. I think the further on a game goes, the floor for what's free to spawn should be increased. After an hour, 4.7s could become free, after 1.5 hours, 5.0s could become free, and after 2 hours, 5.3s could become free. This would mean that players who are struggling to get SP could get into larger ships later in the match, but they wouldn't receive free spawns in top BR cruisers or aircraft at any point, meaning that SP still does matter. Lastly is possibly the largest problem in Enduring Confrontation, the rewards. You can get some really excellent rewards for a good win. In one match I streamed, I got around 600,000 SL and 120,000 RP for about 2 hours of gameplay, which certainly isn't bad. On the flip side of that, I had an even better match and made about a third of the SL and half the RP. Don't worry about the boosters in play, the large ones only count for the first 30 minutes of the match, so the huge disparity is still there with those present. My cruisers also both had talismans, with one being a premium, so that accounts for the RP gap. The rewards for a match are slashed down greatly for a loss, which is just unfair for the amount of time spent. I get that Gaijin wants to have a negative modifier for losses and encourage objective play, but it should be less punishing. Maybe slice 10% or 20% of the rewards off, not whatever massive modifiers in place now. The base rewards should also be increased too, however that goes for all of Naval and not just EC. Other than that, how was the EC experience overall? I would say that it was pretty good, though the technical issues did drag it down some. I'm glad to have EC back, and hopefully get some of the better maps like Saipan soon. As for specific memorable experiences, I got my Sverdlov into point blank with an enemy convoy and the ships protecting it and lagged out everyone in the server with an unending hail of 37mm fire. I saw this Prinz Eugen with googly eyes, which has been a life-changing experience. I also flipped a Freysia with the blast force of my Helena's guns, drowning it. I got a great salvo of torps off in my Shimakaze that wiped out an early game Helena, setting the enemy team back a bit. Overall, it's just fun to play with friends or stream, and sometimes good for grinding too, depending on your luck. Hopefully we can get some improvements to the mode and have it back without another 6-month gap. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more naval content.